Wet Saturday, I must say, in Dominica. Very wet Saturday. But that is expected. We are in the hurricane season, and so that is expected. As a matter of fact, it is said that we are staring down the barrel of another impending weather situation named Beryl, I'm being told. And so those of us who are in Dominica, we need to prepare. I'm being told Beryl as well is, well, it's expected to do some sort of, should I say damage? Some sort of waters from Monday night into Tuesday, I'm being told from the professionals. So we are watching that closely. As well, those of you in the region, please be very careful as well, because it is what it is. We never know with this kind of weather situation, yeah? So I'm just asking each and every one of us to pay particular attention at this time as we continue here to basically monitor the situation that is unfolding as it pertains to the weather situation that we are facing and others at the back, yeah? So please be safe, people. If you don't have to go out, please don't go out, because it doesn't make sense. You put yourself in harm's way, yeah? If you do, if you have to, please do, but please be very, very cautious indeed, because we know how Dominica is. Dominica is a very mountainous country, and so whenever we get water, rainwater that is, the soil, after such dry spell, the soil soaks up that water, and it leads to soil erosion thereafter, and so we get landslides and mudslides and whatever slides else there are. So I'm just asking each and every one of us to be very cautious at this time. I still think that we still have time to do the last minute preparation, as it were, just in case things take a turn for the worse, yeah? But yes, good evening to everybody on the live feed here with me so far. Ivinia Joseph, Yvonne Abel, Eli Newton, Brother Pat Cobbett, Estella Lavassier, Mary John Baptist, Yusika Isles, Mary John Baptist, yes, I call you already, Ria Johnson, Joel Francis, Adelaide Paul, Angelo Allen, good evening to my bro, Kathy Seraphine, Joe Benjamin, the list goes on and on, Carol and Ford, good evening to you as well, and each and every one of you on the live feed here. Those of you from Dominica, Stephanie John Baptist, just tuning in at this time. Those of you in the region as well, thank you for being on board each and every Saturday and just around that time, yeah? I normally play a song, my entrance song, my intro song, as it were. There's a song from Lucky Dubby that I love very much in terms of the words, the lyrics of that song. It's entitled Guns N' Roses. You know what a mismatch that is, eh? Guns N' Roses. But I just ask you guys to take a little listen, take a little time to listen to the words of that song. And it may mean something to you, like it always means something to me whenever I hear it. And so that is why I choose to, every time I start here, to bring it out, to give me that kind of inspiration that I need to move on, yeah? Please listen to that song sometime, entitled Guns and Roses, from none other than Lucky Dubby indeed, yeah? Anita Adams saying that is a favorite artist. Well, Anita, good to know. Benjamin Modi, you're on as well. Good evening to you. All right, folks, where are we going this evening on tonight's program? Let me just tell you straight off the bat, we're going to have 2 hours tonight for sure, yeah? We're going to have 2 hours. I'm going to tell you first up, straight up, a case that is ongoing as we speak. I am a participant in that case, so obviously there are certain details about that case I am not allowed to put out as it is ongoing. So I hope you guys will understand that. But there are certain areas of that case that can be made public, and for sure I will be telling you just what can be made public in terms of that long outstanding case. 6 years on now. Monday and Tuesday gone. Yours truly was in court, the High Court that is in Dominica, attending to that matter with some other people, and so I'll be getting into that in just a bit. Yeah, what I can see, that is. Second on the agenda tonight, I'm going to make a call this evening for some people met earlier this week and last week, and some people I am included. And so the people that met, at least a handful, a bunch of us, we are embarking on a mission, a special mission. What is that mission, you may ask? It is the mission of keeping young Kenisha's 80th memory alive. Yes, you heard me right. Keeping young Kenisha memory alive. And so in that vein, we are asking people to come on board, join us. First and foremost, we want to set in motion, put in place something to remember Kenisha. Something solid, something that can be seen, something that can be touched, something every time you see that thing, it will bring some memory. So that is the first order of business that group is planning to pull off, all in the memory of Kenisha. And secondly, and I believe most importantly, if that group decide to go down that road, then those who will be part and parcel of that group, you will most likely be called upon to continue the standing in the gap for this young child who basically disappeared from our shore. I can tell you, based on what I've been getting so far, that case can be solved, and I am very, very hopeful that case will be solved. But it is a matter of more people coming on board and applying the pressure where needs be in order that be quicken up, a catalyst be put in that area and results be yielded in that department. So that is why, again, I'm saying tonight, we need to keep her memory alive, and you'll be hearing much more about that group that is on the way as we speak in terms of its formation, whereby we will be keeping a memory alive by those of you now joining in, putting up something somewhere, with a memorabilia, a billboard, whatever it is, to keep that memory of that young child right up front and center. That is the first order of business. The second order of business, as I said, it is basically to help apply the pressure where needs be so that justice can be meted out in that very, very bizarre situation. Yeah? Those of you who are interested, you can call yours truly, and I will sure take your info, your contact, whatever it is, and we'll be starting a conversation together. Yeah? We will be starting a conversation. My number is a public number. Everybody should know my number by now. But if you don't know my number, you can link me on Messenger, Facebook, whatever it is. That is Lofty Durant. Send me a message right there, and I will pick it up, and we'll take it from there. Yeah? My number being 245-2396. That is easy as ABC to remember, 245-2396. And so we want to get something going in that department. Yeah? It is your input, it is my input, plugged together, put together, that most likely will make the difference in that matter. Yeah? Good. So that is 2 items on the agenda. The third item on the agenda tonight, those of you who are sporting fans, especially cricketing fans, you will know by now that earlier today, India, the great India, picked up that coveted World Cup crown, that title that is, that cup. And so India now is the World T20 champions, yeah? After beating South Africa today. It was a nail-biting match, I must say. There were different turns and twists in that match. But at the end of the day, I think India held their nerves better together, and India pulled it off. Yeah? So at 7 o'clock, just thereabout, I'll be making contact. You'll be hearing the voice of none other than Mr. Aussie Lewis. If you guys know Aussie Lewis very well, I call him the Wizard of Oz. He's a sports fanatic, and he follows his sports to the T. And so you will want to hear what his take is. Not just the World Cup match today, but the whole T20 tournament and a whole that went on. And for sure, most likely we'll be touching on our own team as well, the West Indies. What can be done, what should be done, what needs to be done to basically perfect the art where we once were in the cricketing world as it pertains to West Indies cricket of late. Yeah? So basically, people, that in a nutshell is the contents for the program for us today. And so I ask you guys to just keep it locked to the spot that you got. And we will be having a very, very interesting 2-hour program tonight together. Your comments, your suggestions, they are always welcome. I will try my best to get to them, especially when Mr. Aussie Lewis gets here. I know some of you will have comments or questions. And so who's better to answer your questions or comments in the world of sports, where especially cricket is concerned indeed. Yeah? And just to alert you on the Civic Vibes program tomorrow, we'll be having a discussion surrounding agriculture. The need for agriculture in Dominica, the need for farming in Dominica, the need for food basically in Dominica. And so we'll be having the voice, we'll be having in person as well, Mr. Peter Carbon. Peter Carbon is an agriculturist, he's a practicing farmer, and so who better to tell us what needs to be done in agriculture as we speak to get Dominica out of the loops where it is, yeah? All right, so folks, let me just run through some of your comments where it is at now, and then before I really take flight to the program here. Liney Andrew, good evening to you. Lawrence John Baptist, Bernice Harris, Justina James, good evening. Jenna David, Love Leon, what, George? Yes. Good evening to you. Natalie Sunwin, Elizabeth Benjamin, Mary Jo, Brother Thaddeus James, good evening to you, my bro. Grace Rudette, Ethel Beth Bellot, Joseph, Gadia Deluge, Conrad Vasher, my friend Alaini Litham, good evening to you. Nice seeing you this week. Amber, Jira, Junior Pogson, good evening. Lanel, yes, is that Lanel Lawrence? Marcella George, Cara Alcy, Edna Ernest, Shara, Tiana Georges, Rudolph Marie, long time to see, my bro. Hope everything is okay. Elvia Roll, Thai Francis, June, April, what's that? Ila Allah, yes, Juanita Prince, Dave Bertrand, Landell Johnson, Ice Maroney, Ronald Charles, good evening to you. Maxime Powell, good evening to each and every one of you. My brother Marshall Dura, he's on the live feed as well. Annette Mondry, Brother Ronald says he's locked in. TC Gordon, yeah, your comment here so far is what, cricket with 3 question marks and choops. Well, TC Gordon, as I always say to everybody, if you don't want to listen, if you don't want to hear what is going on, please feel free to move on, all right? But I respect your comment nonetheless, but that is what is on the cards for discussion tonight. So if you don't want, please feel free to move on, all right? Dominicans, let us take flight. On the 24th and 25th of this week, that was Monday and Tuesday, I had to be party as an applicant in a matter, and most of you, if not all of you, well remember that matter. Some of you were in the thick and thin of things, some of you viewed from afar, some of you heard from afar what transpired. But basically, in a nutshell, just to recap what happened, the Concerned Citizen Movement back then, on the 15th of December 2018 it was, we held a protest, we held a public meeting outside it was supposed to be in the vicinity of the electoral office in town area that's on Turkey Lane. That's in that general vicinity area. We know in Dominica how things roll, and so we did not expect to get anywhere close to the site, even the site of the electoral office. But it was dubbed to be a meeting of like-minded people, whereby we were continuing the thrust for free and fair elections in Dominica. Yeah? Cyrilia Celestine saying, lofty, your voice is low. Well, I'm speaking my average voice, so I don't know what is wrong with from your end, Celestine, but please try to rectify it, okay? But I take your comment. So on that day, that Saturday morning, we basically mounted that peaceful meeting outside or in the vicinity of the electoral office in Dominica, that is on Tipuli. That meeting started about 10 o'clock. In a subsequent program, I will be giving you guys much more detailed information as it relates to what transpired on that day, because I was right there. And much more detailed information will be coming your guys' way about what transpired in the court as well, as it relates to that case. But as I said, it is before the court, still being ventilated before the court, so there are certain parameters that I won't cross. But just to give you the skeleton, as it were, of where that matter is at. After this bombardment of tear gas by the police, unwarranted that is, a meeting that started 10 o'clock in the morning, went up about 3:45 in the afternoon. So a good chunk of at least 6 hours had passed. And the people were having a very, very good time in terms of speaking and demanding freer, fairer, and much more transparent elections in Dominica. After all, that happened in 2018. We well remember what transpired in 2019, 1 year after, December of 2019. And so maybe we were just warning of the thing or things to unfold. Because on the 15th of December 2018, we were out there. Subsequently, we were tear-gassed in a very barbaric manner. And so that is the gist of the matter that is being ventilated in the court now, the High Court in Dominica. Yeah? Lo and behold, the 8th of December 2019, just days of a year short, we saw, and I am saying, and I've said and will continue to say, it was the wholesale stealing of an election in Dominica. That election, to me, in my mind, it topped all other elections that had gone before in terms of the machinations that went in there and the wholesale, I am saying, stealing of it in big, broad daylight by none other party but the Dominica Labour Party. And I am not taking back those words. I am not prepared to put water in my wine as it pertains to those words, because that is what it was. And to tell you the plain truth, I don't think we can see a bigger heist than that in Dominica, where election is concerned. I really cannot fathom that at all. And so to me, 2019 election, it will forever be etched in my memory as one where a group of men and women stole an election before an entire population, before an entire citizen, before the world. Because whenever elections are called in any country, you have much more lens, much more eyes glued on that country. And so after that hijacking of that election, I was privy to be in the company or to be present with, I am saying now, some high repute people out of Dominica. And some of the comments that came to me in terms of just going over, in terms of reflection of what transpired then, was that, and I can sum it up, Mr. Dura, we knew that election was going to be stolen. But we did not take into consideration the magnitude in which it was stolen. That in a crunch, it is the summation of the comments that were told to me by some, outside of Dominica. Those people, they were looking in, they were looking on. And so in their summation, that is how they could capture it best. And so if they could capture it like that, from out looking in, I should be able, you who were there, who witnessed it, should be able to give a much better account of exactly what unfolded. And so, wherever Dominica ends up, be it on the right side of history or on the bad side of history, that 2019 general election, it would have played a significant role as to where this country will end up politically speaking. And so that to me is one of already the whatever that passes for Dominica Labour Party, whatever is left of it, because it's no longer a functioning political party. It has morphed itself into something else. So whatever you want to call it, it's up to you. But that to me, it is one of the standing legacies of the group of men and women that are brandishing or going under the banner of Labour Party. Marshall said lost elections have been rigged from 2009. Marshall, well, if you know me right, I normally keep saying that. Yes, I understand that. And you heard me say that there are times without number. From 2009, Dominica have been witnessing the stealing of elections in Dominica. But the point, Brother Marshall, is that in 2019, my brother, 10 years after, it was the creme de la creme, the cream of the crop, the pinnacle, as it is said. And so I am just saying, my bro, that to me, it was something that Dominicans really didn't see coming. And the very sad, or the saddest part about all that, is that some of the architects that played their role in that political heist, I call it, they are church-going people. They are, I repeat, church-going people. And so they are supposed to be knowing better and should be doing better. But it is they themselves. They are caught up in the stealing of elections ever so often. And I make no apology for that because I know them by name, I know them by face. Some of them, that is. And so that is why I am very, very reluctant when any of these people or their associates come to yours truly or trying to engage yours truly about their God. I am very reluctant to participate. And so things have broken down so bad in the country that the church, not a particular church, but the church now, that is supposed to be the salt, the thing to keep it together, that salt has lost its savor. It is no longer salty, and so it is good for nothing. And some of the pastors know that, some of the priests know that, some of the popes know that, some of the men of the cloth know that. But they will pretend as if all is well with you. And that is where I get very, very touchy sometimes with people who are supposed to know better. They are condoning by their actions now, and some by their inactions, this thing that has so engulfed the country, that have pervaded over the place now as a thick, dark cloud. And it is hanging, it is hovering over this country. I don't want to be a preacher of doom and gloom, people. But the road that we are going on now, the road that we are on now, and the road that we are expecting to traverse on, if the people of Dominica don't do what it takes like yesterday to reclaim this land, it's not my wish to see anybody lose their life in this country because of the politics, because of the insatiable appetite for power. But I am a realist, people, and where we are now and where we are expected to go, if something does not give before that, then, my friends, it's inevitable. Blood, and I mean it, blood. What keeps us alive? Blood will have to flow in order to redeem this land. And I am saying it and I'm shivering because that is what it is, people. Some people must, it is imperative, lose their life in the process of trying to salvage what is left of this country. We have seen it, Dominicans. We have seen it played out over and over again. And it is not getting any better. And so where do you think we're going to end up? Where? Just where? Just where? Just where? It is sad to say, Dominicans, but that is the road we are walking. And that is our fate. If a 180 degree, and trust me, that 180 degree, it is not easy to come by. Because whatever is already set, it is already in motion. It is already in motion, people. And so whatever is already in motion, it is like a foregone conclusion. One example. Take a stone. Take that stone with the intention of throwing that stone. And when you are 3/4 way of that motion now, in terms of throwing of that stone, just try your best to renege or go back on that decision. And you will understand what I'm talking about from a much more practical standpoint. It is already in motion, people. And so you making that conscious decision now of stopping what is to be or preventing what is to be, trust me, it is not that easy of a task. And we are on that road. We are on that road, people. And it is very, very sad to see where my country is at. When I was growing up as a young boy, I really and truly thought we had it together as a country. I did not see that coming. But that is how a country becomes when people are not astute as to what is happening to take the necessary actions before it happens as it relates to proper and effective governance of this country or the country. That's it. And so greed and jealousy has taken over this land in exponential numbers, in an exponential rate. And so we are where we are. What we are going through, people, it is as a level of greed, G-R-E-E-D, greed, coupled with jealousy. And that, to me, is a concussion, a poisonous concussion right there. Nothing else. Whatever you may fathom, whatever you may dream of, it boils back to that. And so it is a very daunting task now in helping redeem or helping salvage what is left of this country now to plug out, to extricate from the mind that greedy mentality and that spirit of jealousy that comes with it. That's what it is. There are countless examples. Countless. It's already 6:45. There are countless examples, Dominicans, of where we are witnessing in real time, firsthand, about the malgovernance of this country, the lies, the deception, the fraud that is being played on a people. But for some reason, some Dominicans are, I don't know. Life, you see life, people? No, not even twins are alike in terms of their characteristics sometimes. And so I understand that, and I put that in the equation when I'm talking about my country. Because I can tell you, if at least, just at least, I'm just looking for a biblical number now, 300. Just 300. I don't need any 1,000. 300 people with that mentality of mine, this country would have been fixed for the better already. Just 300. With the steadfastness, with the zealousness, with the zeal, with the determination, with the persistence, with the consistency, trust me, that would have been a foregone conclusion. We would have been talking about something else, but not that. Just 300. So I'm hoping that number, just 300, can be mounted up and the necessary active action can be taken to help rescue this country. Just 300. Because this one-off moves. I was going to use a stronger word. This one-off moves that some of us are prepared to make in Dominica, can't cut it. We have passed that stage already for these one-off moves. I read a quote this week where this leader, I call her, this effective leader, Harriet Tubman, they call her, when she was marshalling some of the people who were held captive, and she was in the process of rescuing them. I shared it because it meant something to me then. She said, whatever you hear, keep moving. If you hear dogs, keep moving. You hear bullets, keep moving. Screaming, keep moving. Whatever you do, you cannot stop. You have to keep moving. Because that movement, it depends on your freedom or you being in captive. That's it. And so the critical word there is movement. It has to be moving. It cannot be start, stop, now. That is the food of tyranny. That is the recipe by which tyrannical rulers or leaders thrive on. These one-offs. Anyway, Dominicans, let me see what some of you are saying before I get to the next segment. And then I'm going to try to call Mr. Aussie Luis in just a while for his comments from just about 7 o'clock. Read the sporting aspect of things before we bring it down tonight. TC Gunn says, Marshal Duran, none of these dictators were removed by the ballot. And yes, I want to agree with you, TC. on that note, because people who are dictators, it is very, very rare that they are removed from the process called elections. That is the process that 99% of them go through. But that is not the same process that they are prepared to go out. And so most times, 99% of the times, the people now have to deal with these people other than the electoral process. So I agree with you, my brother. Dave Bertrand says they are beginning to fight against themselves now. Convinced is on street hills. There are rumbling going on in this government. Okay, well, Dave Bertrand, if that is what you're hearing, I've been hearing that for a very long time. And so I would rather see that than hear that. But thank you for your comment. Alan Pierre, most dictators aren't removed by the ballots, more by the bullets. I'm not inciting anyone. And she's laughed after this. Yeah. A typical example, Dominicans, a typical example that is staring us in the face, that is right there. The man who sits in the chair as Prime Minister, and I will always lament that fact, and yes, it is a fact. The man who sits in the chair as Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerry, has lied to Dominicans. Because he said to them, he came to Dominicans and he said to us, Dominicans, that burden that I have you guys going through every month of pretty close to 70,000 EC dollars from your money have to pay for me to live in a house, in a big house in Mount Daniel. He said, I'm going to relieve you guys of that burden. In a nutshell, that's what he said. And so that should have happened based on his words. A year plus pretty close to 2 years now. Whereby that 70,000 EC dollars that is being paid to whoever for him, his wife, I'm not putting the children in that because they're innocent. Him and his wife and whoever else he chose to bring in that palatial mansion. That is where he continues to live a lie. And Dominicans, you guys that pay that money, it seems as if you guys have forgotten that. The brother went as far as erecting another superstructure next to the one, opposite to the one, or adjacent to the one, whatever your definition of it is, to that palatial mansion at Mount Daniel. So he's living in one, having the state pay as per Austria and others as per their agreement. Up to now, we don't know for a fact. We heard things, but we don't know for a fact who is the owner, the real owner of that house at Mount Daniel where Roosevelt is living. We don't know. Same thing, like we don't know for sure who is that mega house now in the city that is called the House of Dark Secrets, whereby it has been completed for some time now, and it is just there. It is just there, like as if, well, you're decorating your house and you buy some ferns and palms or whatever it is, and you put them in a pot or in a jar or whatever it is, and you just put it on your shelf. That is how the house of dark secrets in tongue, that is what it resembles now. Somebody from nowhere running under a bogus name in our registry, under a very phony company's name in our registry, to pretend as if it is them. Which investor, which bona fide investor that is going to come in a country like Dominica and build a structure pretty close to the height of the credit union and financial center in comparison to the tallest building in town for now? And that person, whoever they are, whoever he or she is, whoever that company or that group of people they are, would just leave it alone. What crap? What bogus story is that? And added to that, you are hearing from the grapevine, all the little lots in Roseau, the real owners are being pushed out by they acquiring healthy sums from third, fourth parties, acting as proxies for the real owner or owners. And so, when we hear about leaders who ran their countries to the ground in terms of the plunder and the pillage of the country resources, most times the court system in that country, where it was run to the ground by these dictators, the courts in that country cannot handle these people in terms of bringing them to trial, bringing them to justice, so that the people now, the suffering people who have suffered so long, can get justice. So it is why The Hague was set up for people like that. And Dominicans, we are right there. And so that is why you're seeing that constant push, that constant thrust, that constant, push back on the people. Because there comes a day when everybody has to pay. And I only hope that whenever another group of men and women attains power in this country, that power itself doesn't go up in their head so much that they forget all the atrocities that were committed and would not commit themselves to hold these people accountable. Anything short of that would be a failure on these people. And so whoever is plundering the country resources today, their day will come, must come. And that is my wish. That we would have men and women of a certain caliber, a certain degree, to hold these people accountable. Obviously, with outside help. Our little police and our little investigation and we cannot even solve a murder in Dominica. And so all where these people hide their monies now, the country's resources must be returned unto the people. Must. Unless that is done, It's not settled. And so I'm just putting these leaders on note that that day is coming. A matter of fact, that day is at hand. And so of late, what has been presenting itself to me in terms of an inspiration is that I am getting that feeling, and it's a feeling, when that day will finally be here, just like the other dictators who have gone before, they have a way, some of them, of short-circuiting the process. And so I hope and pray that ours here, whoever they are, will not choose to short-circuit the process before the people of Dominica know fully well what we were involved in on the 29th of June 2024 and prior. And I'm waiting for that day. Dominicans, as I said before, we have a young girl, Kisha Etienne, who 2 years back gone missing from our soil. And so it is our responsibility now as patriots of this country, as mothers, as fathers, as people who care, to seek justice on her behalf. And so that is why a group of people are speaking of doing some things in her memory. And so that is why now I am asking you to come on board, because more hands, they say, makes the work lighter. So I'm asking you to come on board. Let us have that conversation. Let us see what can be done so that young Kisha, at least that case, can get some kind of closure, and we, the Dominican people, especially her family, can get an idea of what went on, and so the country will go back to rest, as it were. Hit me up. Let's get it going, people. I read about a similar case in Antigua this week, where a young child, I think she was 16 years, I'm being told, just gone missing. But at least in that case in Antigua, the police got her remains. And if you did Observer News in Antigua, you'll get that story that I'm talking about, because it's right there. I believe, if memory serves me right, she's from Haiti, that young girl, but was living in Antigua for some time. And she was pregnant by an elder man to her, 10 years plus, 10 years over her age, and she gone missing. But at least the Antigua and Barbudan people, they have some kind of a resolution to the matter. We in Dominica, we have not had our resolution as yet. And so when I read about that case this past week, I saw and I could feel Kisha all over that case. I could feel the vibe. She was all over that case. I saw her in that picture. And so finally, again, I just want to put Mr. Valerie, the acting police chief, on note that much more could have been done in that matter, Mr. Valerie, by you and your men, in terms of a proper investigation. We, the Dominican public, we are not satisfied. And we will not rest until a solution or resolution be brought into that matter. We will not rest, we will not relent. And so just for public information now, 2 weeks back, yes, I think so it was, I gave to Mr. Valerie, that is the Chief of Police acting, a particular piece of information that he promised that he would look into the matter. And so, Mr. Valerie, I am just reminding you publicly. I'm just reminding you. Because a young child that was part of a village, that was part of a family, that was part of a community, that was part of a country, cannot just disappear like that without a trace. There must be a trace. People must know what happened to that child. And so it's on that ground, the people who are in the know that are staying silent for whatever reason, you guys need to speak either willingly or under pressure. Kenisha was last seen about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 5:30, in the surrounding of that pilgrim church in Warner. People saw her there with the adopted mother about 5:15, 5:30. They saw her. I know that because people on the ground confided with me and told me, yes, I saw her. And so the people now in the church, that pilgrim church in Warner, they know, they too, 99.5% saw her as well in the church on that night. And so it wasn't the adopted mother and the adopted father alone that was in that church with that child. No. There was a membership. Whatever they were doing there, praying, singing, talking, whatever it is, there was a membership there. And so you had more than a couple pairs of eyes seeing that young child. And by just seeing that young child, much can be derived from your sight. Much more can be derived from what you heard. And so it cannot be an entire church now would be silent as a mouse and say nothing in that child's defense who was one of theirs. And so that is why sometimes I am very, very hard on these so-called church-going people in this country. I will not step into the zone I am into now in terms of description of you guys. But you have a fair idea what I'm talking about. Apart from the church, the membership now, not the building I'm talking about, the membership, the people who saw and heard and felt. Trust me, people, when something like that happens, people have gut feelings. If you don't have gut feelings, you're a stone, you're a piece of wood. In matter of fact, you have a heart, you have a conscience, you have a brain, you can think. that gives you a notch or two up over the animals who cannot do that. That's why I'm saying some of the burden of that child gone missing has to be placed now on the church. And I'm not pulling it back. The adopted mother said, about 8:30, 9 o'clock about there, the child said, however, mommy, granny, auntie, I am hungry. It is said that some other member of that church was approached to ask if something could be given to the child in order to curb that hungerness. The church member said regrettably, no. And so the adopted mother now said she took that child. About 8:30, 9 o'clock, people, keep that timeline in mind. It is crucial, it is critical. She left that assembly. She left with her husband and that innocent child. Left that Pilgrim Holiness Church in Warner. Drove up that hill with her little white car. Take a right onto the main road and head up to Glashin area now, where they lived. In my estimation, people, Pilgrim Holiness Church to the Glashin area on the main road, it will take, I am assuming, at least 10 minutes to get to that area on car, driving. 10 minutes, people. So if you leave that church about 9, 10 minutes, 50, cannot take more than 15 minutes. But I'm still giving you 15 to get to the main road, to the entrance of that path. That child had to go down that night without light. Give and take 15 minutes from the Pilgrim Holiness Church to the main road of the entrance to the house. So you're looking at 8:45, about there. That area, I can tell you, it has absolutely no Domlech lamp poles in that area. It is as dark pitch as night. And so whatever, if ever, Miska said she didn't go down. She dropped them. So Miska now ruled out herself, extricated herself, took out herself from the picture now as to what was to come. She went back to the church, she said, and interestingly, she said, turned off her telephone. Those were her words, not mine. So here it is. The adopted mother left her husband with her adopted child at that hour of the night. Black is not the color that can truly represent that area in the night. And I'm making I'm not exaggerating the point. You left that child with that man to make their way, and from the main road to that house, In my estimation, because I walked it, so I can tell you. And I walked it in the day, people. I mean to say, Kenisha most likely being up there would have known the ends, the bends, the integrity, the vibes. She would have known the little, she should have known the vibes. Because, that would have been her. I was told when the buses put her down from school, she would have just tracked it down, in the afternoons. So, in the night would have been a little easier for her to traverse, knowing where that stone is, knowing where that hole is, knowing where. But the deal is, they had no light. And so you had to take now some caution to go down that track leading to that road now. Even if you thought it was like your drawing room you were walking. So I am assuming three to 5 minutes to get to the house. 5 minutes. And in the scheme of things, people, 5 minutes is a lot of time. Take that into consideration as well. So you have a hungry child. 15 minutes, 10 minutes from the church to the area. Another 5 minutes, so that's 25 minutes roughly. 20-25 minutes about there. So, Mr. Preacher now, and that child, I am saying or suggesting, would have been around that house, in the house, about the 9 o'clock hour. If so it went, as per their utterances, especially Mr. Bruno. So 9 o'clock, you are in the house. One of them said that house had no electricity power. None. Nada. So in that house, you had this little, whatever it was, this thing that charged in the day and emanates some kind of lighting in the night. That is what was on the door, wherever it was. So that gives you now an idea of the lighting, the type of lighting under that area, under that bushy area, that garden-like setting in the 9 o'clock time frame. Added to that, people. Added to that. And that, to me, was one of the more critical things that were never, ever mentioned by neither preacher nor Miska in all their utterances. And it is only when yours truly went around the area and was talking to people, I found out that Miska elderly father, who was blind and maybe still blind, was also occupying that house at the time. Did you guys ever hear? Did you guys ever hear from these people's mouths that there were more occupants occupying that house other than preacher, Miska, and Kenisha? I'm just asking the question. And so that man up in age, even if his sight was like a bat, blind as a bat, they say, his hearing would have picked up some things. And so that man, is a critical witness as to the police now asking him some questions as to what really went down that night. Because it is said, medically, when your eyesight go, that sense go, the other senses open up. The taste open up, the smell open up, the hearing open up, the feeling open up. Because you now have to compensate. And so people, every time I think about that matter, it gives me the chill. And so that is why I'm saying, based on what I've been hearing, and people of Warner, they know what happened to that child. They know. But if the police are not prepared to do their job now, most of these people may not be willing. And so it's on that premise I am saying the police needs to step up their game in that department and reignite, reopen that matter, and let us get factual, truthful answers so that that case can be closed. Unless and until that is done, it will remain as an indictment on the police, on the village of Warner, on the church-going people of the Pilgrim Holiness Church, from captain down to cook, sparing nobody. There were teachers who saw Kenisha. There were teachers who knew Kenisha. And on my last outing, I told you guys, there were at least a teacher or two who had their tentacles up as to the latest behavior change in Kenisha 2 weeks thereabout preceding her disappearance. Have the police ever spoke to these teachers or that teacher? And so folks, there's much more that can be said about that matter, but it is you and I pursuing that matter, publicly that is, will yield the necessary results. Mr. Preacher, finally, I'm told from people on the ground, he's in Antigua. And so, Mr. Preacher, sir, the technology that I'm using now, it is global. So I'm speaking, maybe you're watching, or you'll get to know. I am asking you, my brother, the question straight up. What is your mission in Antigua? What is it that you picked up yourself from Dominica and you are doing in Antigua? What is it? You said on the record, you're an old man. You said you're a man up in age. And so what would warrant you being up in age after all these years? You worked in Dominica, you have your business in Dominica, your garden, your church life, your spiritual life, your whatever it is. Who now is pastoring that church you're pastoring in Warner? Who? And why? What is the reason you gave the church for departing? You see all these unanswered questions, people? And I am saying, it is the police in Dominica that has the authority now to step in and do the necessary research. If they cannot do it, there's help to bring some kind of closure to that matter. That case is too porous. The evidence is seeping all over the place. And so it's two things in closing. It's either the police in Dominica from the hierarchy down is very, with a capital V, incompetent, or I am saying they too, they are hiding something, not wanting to go deep in order that their hands as well may be muddied in the matter. Because we well remember Kisha Alexander. Dominicans, Aussie Lewis is maybe asking, where is Loftus Durham? Let me see if I can pick up on Aussie before we close up on things here. All right. So, we should continue pressing for justice for this young child. Nothing else will suffice.
Hello?
Mr. Aussie Lewis.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, brother, under the weather?
Not too bad. I'm on top of the weather.
You're on top of the weather. That's good. I know animals that fly on top of the weather are eagles, eh? They right on top of the storm.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're an eagle.
Oh, yeah, you're quite right.
Yes, but Aussie, I'm calling you this evening. You are live on my program. Thank you for accepting my call. As we spoke earlier, you agreed.
Yes, I'm live right now.
Yes, you are live on the program. So basically, everybody's hearing you now.
Right, good, yes.
So I was just saying to you, thank you for agreeing to come on to talk some sports. I know that is right down your alley.
Yes. Well, I guess you'd like to talk about the grand finals between South Africa and India, and the match ending in a victory for India, India winning by 7 runs.
Well, yes, we'll talk about that, but we can even stretch it a bit further by, your whole impressions on the whole tournament itself, how it started. Yes.
Right, okay, I'll give a whole synopsis of the whole tournament and the main features here and there, and stress on the finals, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Well, I would say that the 2024 men's T20 World Cup was a World Cup that was dominated predominantly by bowlers. In other words, it was a bowler-friendly sort of scenario where most of the pitches, most of the grounds seem to have favored the bowlers. Normally in T20s, one looks forward or expects or anticipates a number of sixes, a number of fours, countless sixes, and with a score in recent times, a score of 150 is considered a very low score. Well, normally, since the IPL, the Indian Premier League, the last few years, more and more teams have passed over 200, some over 250 in the 20 overs allotment. So I guess the cricketing world was expecting some fireworks with the batsmen. Cricket is deemed to be, or looked upon to be, more and more by people who follow, or those who don't follow it, as a batsman's game. So you tend to favor the batsman as the dominant part of cricket. So here it was in this 2020 tournament, from the pitches they played in USA, they played Texas and New York on pitches there, and they were definitely very bowler friendly.
Yeah.
Teams could hardly get a proper run of ball for 120. Many teams scored just about the 100 mark. So there were very many low scores. Save for the matches in St. Lucia and one or two in Barbados, and I think one in Antigua. The scores, the batters these days, which I hate to use, I use the word batsmen still. I'm old-fashioned, but I'd rather say batsmen. I'm not going to say batter.
Batsmen.
When I say batter, the term batter appears to me like you're playing wranglers, ladies wranglers, batting the ball.
Yeah.
I can't call a great man like Sobers or Richards as a batter or Don Bradman batter. I would never do that. A batsman. So I insist on batsman. And you can say batswoman if you want. Is a batsman. I use the term batter. I just felt that I should just make that clear.
Yes.
But therefore, I would say I'm lucky that the pitches definitely favor the bowlers in most of the matches we saw. 55 matches in all. They had 20 teams starting the tournament in 4 groups of 5. 4 by 5, that's 20. So 20 teams made up of 12 full member nations. By saying full member nations means the regular test teams, West Indies, England, South Africa, Australia, Pakistan, India, these are Sri Lanka, even Bangladesh, even Afghanistan and Ireland belong to the full member nation club. And they had about 8 other teams, not about 8 other teams from the associate countries, which are not full member nations. So in all you had, as I just to repeat, 20 teams competing this in 4 different groups. And they had to play the top 2 in the first matches, top 2 teams from each group. When each top 2 teams of the 4 groups went on the Super 8. So you went down from 20 to start, you went down to 8 teams. And then in the Super 8, you had to get the semi-finalists. And the 2 semi-finalists, of course, and today we had the grand finals at Kensington Oval, which I consider to be the mecca of West Indies cricket. Kensington, why do I say that? Barbados, because this ground has produced some of the most famous cricketers, not only in the Caribbean, but the entire world. Sir Garfield Sobers, the 3 W's, Wicks, Warwick, Walcott, Garner, the great Marshall, Greenwich and Haynes, Sir Conrad Hunt, and a host of others. Barbados has truly deserved the accolade or the title, if you like, or the recognition of status of being called the Mecca of West Indies cricket. And the 20 finals there today. Luckily, the weather was fine. We had a fantastic final. But again, in the end, South Africa lost by 7 runs. They had come to a point where they required 30 runs of 30 balls remaining. They were they still had 7 wickets in hand. 99% of the times, a team in a 2020 batting 30 runs to go in 30 balls and with 7 wickets intact would win the match in a canter, win the match easily. Are you still hearing me, sir?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. I'm listening as well.
Can I continue?
Yes, go right on.
Okay. So I'm just talking to that. I'll go over some important milestones and things that happened during the course of the 55-match tournament. But just to say that South Africa did all the work to get to that position. They required 30 runs to get off 30 balls, a run a ball. That is they have 7 wickets still to get. The Indians, you could see they were already what they call crestfallen and downhearted. Well, you could see the heads were down. The match was pretty won already. But something happened which I personally observed. I was not following cricket since 1950.
Aussie, I'm not, your voice dipped a bit.
Yeah. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, I'm hearing you now, yes.
All right, I said I've been watching cricket for about since 1950. Following cricket and everything. And there's something called sportsmanship. There's something called gamesmanship. But there's some gamesmanship that is very close to me and goes against the spirit of the game and it's close to cheating. What am I talking about? When there were 30 runs to get of 30 balls, you know, Rishabh Pant, are you hearing me now?
I'm hearing you, yes. I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Indian keeper. When I was waiting to see who was going to bowl the over, I saw Clarkson, who had 52 not out at the time, had taken the match away easily to South Africa, waiting as well what was going on. Then I realized here was Rishabh Pant, the keeper, about 15 yards away from where he had to be behind the stumps, on the ground. And the substitute from the pavilion had saying to him, what was he doing? He was strapping his pads or something, working keeper pads. He had no injury. He saw nothing at all. Nobody knows why, but he's just there on that field.
Well, Aussie, what I saw was happening there with Pant was that he went to the ground and the guy in his pavilion came to his assistance.
Yes.
And was wrapping his left leg, his left knee area with some band or some whatever it was. And that took about, roughly 5 minutes to get done with.
Right. It took about 4 or 5 minutes.
Yes.
Crucial minutes.
Yes.
So it broke the flow of the game. So Clarkson lost focus, he lost the momentum. And from my experience, more often than not, when these unscheduled breaks take place and you're batting, and it breaks your concentration, it breaks your momentum, and invariably, batsmen get up the very first ball on resumption after these unscheduled breaks. So India realized they will have 30 balls to go, 30 runs to get. Clarkson, the dangerous man who's on 52 in about 22 balls, still batting. Here was the gamesmanship in inverted commas of Richard Pant. If someone is strapping his foot, I never saw anybody hitting on his leg or a pad strap burst, nothing like that. I just saw this man on the ground, and the man from the pavilion came to him and wrapped his leg and taking good time, and the umpires never intervened. So I want to say categorically, without any reservation, I believe Richard Pant was playing it there. It went beyond the gamesmanship to break the concentration and momentum of the South Africans who were right on top. I would like to hear the reaction later on of people who might have noticed that. Doctors.
Yeah, so basically, Aussie, what I'm getting from you, that wasn't too good of quote unquote
not against the laws. I mean, you get some time to fix your pads and this thing, or if a ball hits you, you get some time for some people to come from the pavilion, the physio, the medical team to attend to you or something. But out of the blue, nothing has happened. We just saw the man on the ground and sat from the stance where he was keeping. He was close to the other end. And he has this man strapping him, take off the pad, strapping his pad. And that took about 5 minutes where Clarkson had to, and someone's Clarkson was fed up like waiting. And I'm telling you, that broke his concentration, broke the momentum of the game. And the very first ball Clarkson placed from Adiak Pandey, He didn't concentrate, he wasn't focused. He played a shot at a ball, almost a white ball, and got caught behind. But even then, there were many other chances where South Africa ought to have won that match. South Africa, Loftus, has played since the inception of these matches years ago.
Aussie, just before,
in 2020,
Aussie,
50 over cricket, they have reached the semi-finals about 7 times and never gone on to a final.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? South Africa are known as chokers because of that reputation. 7 times they were in semi-finals and could not go on to the finals. So today again, they were in a final where 9 out of 10 times they would have, any team did 30 runs of 30 balls, and just to say the wicket at Kensington today was like a pitch road. You know a nice pitch road?
Yes.
Road. So it's a nice.
Aussie, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you.
Someone is asking a question there. The person says, so Aussie, because of a pause for 4 minutes, South Africa lost the match. The person
I didn't say because they lost the match. I say that contributed to a serious turning point when Clarkson got on. I'm not saying it had a big dent in South Africa going on to get a 30 balls, because the danger man lost his focus, lost his concentration, and got out. That's all I'm saying. Okay?
So on that point, Aussie, that you raised there, do you think that in terms of a review now, that point where Pant went down on the ground, that 4 or 5 minutes, do you think that may come into some kind of scrutiny in the future as they review the whole tournament? That is the people who put that.
Well, if they have a review, and a thorough review, and realize that there was no necessity for him to have gone down and took that time to restrap his pad, where he had no injury, I didn't see any injury, nothing to him. I didn't see anything happen to his pad. I don't know if he just wants to change his pad. I mean, it's gamesmanship. He will slow down the game. So when you slow it down, you have time to break the momentum. As I said, many times in cricket, almost invariably, the next ball, the guy gets out. I'm not saying that it happens all the time, but that was one approach, in my opinion, which I definitely saw as something that I noted. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. So, but India has won, I think it's for the second time, T20. As you know, the West Indies have won the tournament twice as well, in 2012 and 2016, under the great Sammy, who was the head coach this time of the West Indies team. By the way, the West Indies team, a lot of people felt they would have gone on to at least play the finals, and they dropped short before they go into semi-finals. They reached the Super 8. So the West Indies, in any case, the West Indies over the last year, Loftus, has done remarkably well in that mode of cricket, because they were number 10 in the world just a year ago, and they're now rated at number 3 in the world. So these two never went on to play semi-finals and indeed to go on to win. But overall, the progress made by the West Indies in that version of cricket is still very commendable.
Yes.
Now,
so someone says here, South Africa always crumble under pressure. Would you agree with that statement?
That's why they're called, I repeat, they're called chokers. That's the term they use for them. I can remember South Africa some years ago in a World Cup match, 50 over World Cup match against Australia. They had one run, the winning run to get to us, the winning run. And they were actually going to take the winning run. And the last man got run out, and Australia won by 1 run. In a World Cup match, South Africa went down when they were clearly going to win, and they reached a stage where they had one more run to get, and it was the last ball, and Australia still prevailed with a run out, which was has never happened by some African batsmen. So the others do something in the end, and which just collapses, they just implode in the end. But don't tell me you have 30 runs to get in a World Cup final. 30 balls to get 30 runs. You have 7 wickets left, but the point remains still Loftus. South Africa's bowlers do not bat as well as India's bowlers. It is very good to have a man at 8 or number 9, because you never tell when you need him to give you a 20 or 30. The South African tail, Maharaj, Rabada, Shamsi is a half-ball man. And who is the last man? Rabada, Shamsi, who is the other fellow? I can't believe it, yeah. But at least they are not very strong batsmen at all. And even the very end, I found that Miller could have taken more of a strike in the end there. There's once or twice he took singles. As the only batsman remaining and the ball's running out, Miller, who is a dangerous batsman and is known to get South Africa in winning positions many times, he one or two balls, there are times he could have taken singles or refused the singles so he can kick the strike and make greater advantage of the balls that we're listening ball after ball. But having said all that, I want to make special mention of a guy called Bumrah.
Just before you go to Bumrah, Aussie, Dave Bertrand is writing here. Something similar happened in Australia versus the West Indies when a batsman got struck on his hand and wanted to slow down the match, but the umpires told him to get on with it.
Right.
I guess not in that match, but not in that tournament, but a previous setup.
So certainly, there was no doubt in my mind that Rishabh Pant, with 30 balls to go, 30 runs, and the batsman in full cry, that we have Hiram Clark, his name is Clarkson. You're on 52, and then the bowler that is Mercy. I just batted 1.5 overs more. Clarkson himself won the game single-handedly. And I'm saying that on that interruption of 5 minutes, this man called to strap a pad. Not even another injury he had, He sat on the pitch, strapping the pad, and they were strapping the pad so slowly. And it took about 5 minutes. I was checking that because I watch every detail in cricket. I'm sure, I'm not saying it was bound to happen, because Clarkson wasn't bound to get out. But most times, people are human beings. When you're on the court and momentum is going, and you're going hot, and you have to stop work. Many times after, if it was cricket, after the interval on the break, you find the batsman, after good batting, he gets out very quickly, because there's a break in concentration, a break in momentum, a break in impetus, and that happens to Clarkson. So Clarkson went out there. If Clarkson had batted just for 1.5 overs more, he would have knocked off the 30 runs, because this man was batting like a house on fire. And that just South Africa and the Bloodbanger was coming to Bumrah now. So, can you know about Bumrah a little bit?
Bumrah, I say, is the god of bowling, eh?
I will tell you something. I have been following cricket since 1950, long before Loftus Duran was even thought of. I've seen great bowlers, dangerous bowlers, fast bowlers, everything. Bumrah to me is arguably one of the most difficult bowlers ever played the game across all versions. Do you hear the point I'm making?
Yes, I get that.
Jasprit Bumrah, this is a man he always, 99% of the time, he rises to the occasions when South Africa are in a hole. Burma can be fast when he wants to be. He has variation. He has unerring accuracy. His economy is 4 most bowlers go by 6-7 is you're very good if you're bowling T20 at an economy rate of 6-7 runs per over. Burma bowls at 4.6 runs an over in T20 cricket. Are you understanding that point I'm making?
Yes, I know that. I know that. Yes.
You can't score off him. He gets you out. And he has all the attributes of a match winner. He has some yorkers that are dangerous yorkers. He can move the ball both ways. Right? He has variation. He's extremely accurate. He has all the attributes. And most of all, he appears to be a humble guy. He, to me, is one of the most bizarre fast bowlers or bowlers I've ever seen in cricket. And he has proven it. He was the man of the tournament.
And his action Aussie. If you're
his action, right.
If
he runs up like a pony, giddy up. He starts again, and he goes, this man is he's very, very difficult. He is definitely a big resource for India. And once they said, he still had 2 overs left in the end, he was the man who, getting that wicket there, he didn't Clarkson out, but he bowled Jensen, the last remaining batsman, Jensen they call him.
Yeah.
Tall, very tall guy.
Tall guy, the bowler.
And Jensen bats number 7. And Jensen just had to face 2 or 3 more deliveries. And they brought back Bumrah for his last spell. And he clean bowled Jensen and turned the match around again. Although Pandya got Clarkson out and he got somebody else out. But it's that over of Bumrah when he got rid of Jackson, the fast bowler, left-hand seller. When right through his defense, I realized that Miller was left. But even then, if Miller, the remaining batsman, had found the bowling properly, keep Maharaj from the strike, because Maharaj faced about 6 or 7 balls. And I feel that 1 or 2 of them were too many. Kip Miller could have found the bowling, as I say, and he could have, with 2 or 3, they probably lost only like 7 runs. This was a bitter disappointment. And I keep repeating that 99% of the time, a team that is requiring 30 on a batting wicket in a 2020 match, a team that requires 30 runs of 30 balls with 7 wickets left, and you had batsmen Clarkson and Janssen and Miller still there. How could they lose in the end by 7 runs?
But also the top order of South Africa, to me, was a dismal failure this time around. And they did not bring home the goods. They left too much for the lower end batsmen, in my estimation. South Africa, yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you, let's look at how they got out, how they were dismissed. 177 it was, I think, to win.
Yeah, 177.
Right. The first man was out, Hendricks, with a beautiful delivery. He had no problem, as purely defeated by a fellow called Ashdeep, the fast bowler. Bowled Hendricks, the opener, neck and crop. Right. But every other batsman self-destructed. After they got the early wicket, the captain comes in, hits a lovely 4, then turns after a wide ball and gets caught behind. Okay, then the young fella bowls and he stops a very impressive young guy who came at number 3. I think it's Stubbs, that's his name.
Stubbs, yeah, Stubbs. Stops.
This man was batting now. He and the opener, the keeper.
That is the keeper. Cock, Quinton the Cock.
The Cock, Quinton the Cock, and this young guy who bind together and building a good partnership. They had even gone past the required rates. And this guy is batting well. The pitch was playing well. And then the batsman, what's his name? Stop there. He went on the offside about 2 or 3 feet and tried to hit the ball on the leg side, exposed his stumps completely. He missed.
Yeah,
and
that was uncalled for.
That was uncalled for. That ball, he went right outside the off stump, almost about 2 to 3 feet to hit the ball on his leg side. And if he missed, the ball was hit and he was bowled.
Yeah.
That was a self-destructing bit of play. And then who again?
Quinton the Cock.
Quinton the Cock.
He had a hook.
One of the greatest batsmen in that form of cricket. I'd say that form of cricket. This man can explode when he's ready. Left-hander. Has some beautiful cricket shots. He played a shot to fine leg for 6. Then they put the man right where the ball dropped over the line for 6. The very next ball, the same ball, the Cock goes for the same shot and gets caught behind her. That is self-destruction.
Yeah.
Right? The Cock. And then which other batsman they had?
To me, after the Cock, I realized South Africa was in problem. After the Cock, to me, the Cock for reason.
Okay, after the Cock, Clarkson came out, I think. Clarkson came out and batted with first Clarkson and who had the partnership? The Cock, I think, still. They had a good partnership before the Cock was out. And then Miller had to come out. Now Miller is the last recognized batsman. Miller came at number 6. At that time, Clarkson opened, I don't want, an over from the left-arm spinner called Akshay Patel and went for about 24 runs.
Yeah.
And that raised the score up close to about 150 or something from nowhere. At that point, everybody said match over.
Yeah, because even the Indians themselves, their shoulders were down.
And there was unscheduled stoppage by Richard Pant dropping to the ground to tie off his pads. That I would like to know what happened. And to me, that was not guiltmanship. It went, I could see it. And it happened that the momentum of Clarkson, who scored a brilliant 50. By that time, the game was already won. So India had given up. The captain was almost crestfallen, his head bowed. All them.
Yeah, that is what.
The only hope they have, 1 in 100 chance. If they can display Bumrah, they had enough balls to get the 30 of the other bowlers. But it's when Clarkson got out and then Jansen came out there. And Jansen could not face the over that Bumrah was called back to bowl. That if Jansen had just finished the over, South Africa would have won the match. But having got clean bowled by the great Bumrah, that was a body blow. And then it exposed the tail. And Miller, to me, didn't really fan the bowling properly with Maharaj and Rapada and so on. And in the end, okay, another point too, I don't know if I forget that I lost. Can I speak for a few more minutes, if I may?
There was a catch as well from which guy? Surah on the boundary. We have to talk about too.
Yeah, I want to tell you that the catch that was taken of the last over with 16 runs required of the last 6 balls and Miller batting. This is no joke for Miller. Miller is accustomed to hitting 6s and 4s, right? Miller of South Africa. And the first ball of the last over being bowled by Hardik Pandya. catch almost on the boundary line, hits it over the boundary, he crosses the boundary, not touching the boundary rope, and he hits the ball back in play, he crosses the boundary from outside to come back inside and take that catch. My God, Miller could not believe it. I've never seen a pivotal catch taken in a very important match like that. So that catch of the last, even that, because Miller could have gone to 16 runs in the last over. But that ball would have gone for 6. You know, have 5 more balls to get to what? Just 10 runs. I'm sure Miller would have got the 10 runs or 5 balls. But that catch, Samayama, Kuma, who they call Sky, that brilliant catch on the boundary, will be an unforgettable catch. Because Miller could hardly believe it. And I could not believe it. I said, my God, I said, South Africa, you were not meant to win a global tournament.
Yes, Aussie, that to me was some miraculous moment in the game that sealed the fate of South Africa.
He never touched the rope with his leg.
Yeah.
He crossed the leg, caught the ball outside the boundary, sent it back in the air. He had to jump that rope and not touch the rope and still focus on the ball and complete the catch. Why? That was amazing, miraculous catch.
True.
And in the end, Milan knew it was the last straw. But
Aussie, what I noticed as well that I want to ask you as we're about to wrap in a while, because 8 o'clock, the Indian fans, the emotions that these people went through this afternoon. Can you speak to that? Some were crying, some were praying, some were. It was really, really, really a tense situation.
It was very, very emotional. Guys were crying. I see Siraj was weeping. Fell on their knees, they were praying. And they were actually shedding tears of joy because they know how hard it is to win a World Cup. You know? You could see it. I mean, these guys really were extremely jubilant and elated. It was something else.
True.
But that catch on the boundary in the last over, even that, had it gone for 6, South Africa would still have gone on to win with Miller batting to get 10 runs or 5 balls. But that catch was the final straw, the final nail in the coffin. South Africa will go down to their reputation is after they are called chokers, C-H-O-K-E-R-S, as they must choke. They're called the great chokers of cricket. But India, having said all that, India really has a very well-balanced team. India has everything. To be fair, India has everything. They have great batsmen.
And they were unbeaten in Aussie.
Pardon?
They went through today, unbeaten.
Yes. And they were never lost a match, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
They were unbeaten right through the tournament.
I heard a commentator call them the gods of cricket, man.
Yeah, the gods of cricket, yes. Well, India is very strong in all departments of cricket.
I know.
I remember the days after when India was one of the weakest teams playing Test cricket, you know, like the 1960s and so on. I remember India had bowlers opening for them. Spin bowlers used to bowl open for them, you know. India had no fast bowlers. You had Bedi, Ben Casaran, and Prasanna, and some Chandrasekhar. You had other bowlers. Guys with this, they had no fast bowlers. But India, in the last few years, have developed and grown to be a real powerhouse.
True.
Because they have a full team here. Rohit Sharma opening the batting. Kohli, top batsman, world batsman. You have all kind of batsmen, the all-rounders. You have young guys. Akshay Patel, that all-rounder, is a guy not to be taken lightly. To me right now, he's above Jadeja. Jadeja never came to the party. Akshay Patel, this is a match winner, bowling batsman.
True.
And he took a beautiful catch to dismiss Malcolm Marshall. in the all matches to make win. Yeah, the semi-final match was, I think.
Yes, I believe it was the semi-final, yeah.
It was India against Australia.
When he plucked it out from the sky.
Beautiful one-on catch on the boundary.
Yeah, I remember.
So, Bumrah, just to repeat, when you have Bumrah, you know, and that fellow Ashdeep, the other fast bowler. So India has no weak link. That's the point. Even the fielding has improved.
True.
So to beat India, you can't afford to make any or many mistakes.
True.
But I'm sorry that South Africa, West Indies could very well up to a point, but West Indies lack something, I would think. I don't think the West Indies, you see, it's not just slogging. You have to do it. West Indies, when they bat, they allow too many dot balls, what do you call dot balls. Take the singles. West Indies are too dependent on sixes and fours. The singles and twos are very important too. You can't allow too many dot balls as the West Indians do. The West Indians still lack something. I still feel they want the better team in world cricket. In T20, in T20. I don't think Rodman Powell is the greatest captain I've seen for the West Indies. You know?
Aussie, your voice again deep there, but I just want to ask you, Aussie, to, as we bring it to a wrap, your final thoughts as it pertains to the T20 tournament just concluded where India lifted the World Cup.
Yes. You get to conclude that?
Yes.
Well, in the end, I would say it was a very, very enjoyable tournament. And for the most part, it was bowlers seemed to dominate. Whereas normally in T20s, you expect a plethora of sixes and fours, like in the IPL. I believe because the bowlers in the tournament got some assistance from the pitches, it made for better cricket than every ball of six, every ball of four. Like the IPL, it became boring because all teams scoring 250, 230. When you have to fight for your runs, and bowlers have an equal chance as the batsmen, it makes cricket more interesting to watch and to follow. So I believe overall, it was a very tremendous success, this 24 T20 tournament. And I think we saw some good cricket. The weather, in fact, affected once or twice. But by and large, I think it was an unqualified success, and I enjoyed watching it very much. But I've seen for my home team, Australia, I was a bit dissatisfied they lost, but I still feel Australia's captaincy was bad. I don't think Marsh was a good captain, and Australia dropped too many catches. But I'll say more at another time about Australia.
Yeah,
but I think time is up now.
Yeah. All right, well, Aussie, again, thank you.
It was a great tournament, and congrats to India win for its second time. But once again, condolences to South Africa. So near, and yet so far.
True.
To become eternal chokers of international cricket.
All right, Aussie, thank you for your honest thoughts as always. See you some other time.
But I remember the gamesmanship, quote unquote, of Richard Kant in the match. Okay, my doctor.
Take care, Aussie.
All right, thank you. Okay, good. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye. All right, folks, you just heard from the Mr. Aussie Lewis, a well-known voice in Dominica, especially in the sporting world. He gave us here his honest thoughts as it pertains to the just concluded T20 tournament that was just held, where we saw 20 teams on display. And our own West Indies team did not reach even the semi-finals, but good luck next time. I hope so. And today, a cruncher at the end there, where South Africa at a certain point in time thought they had it in the bag. But to me, what really made the difference between these two teams is that how they held their nerves together. And so India did it better, and India came on top. And so congratulations to mighty India A commentator called them the gods of cricket. Mr. Boomer himself, the god of bowling. This brother basically can let that ball do exactly what he says in terms of the outswing, in-swing, line and length. Just give it to this brother. His action is not that fussy, but to contend with his delivery or his deliveries, trust me, you have to be very, very good of a batsman to deal with Boomer. So, having said that, folks, I want to thank you for your eyes and ears. Remember, as I said before, tomorrow on the Civic Vibes program from 6 o'clock, we're going to hear from Mr. Peter Carbon. He's going to have an all-interesting conversation with us about the need to revitalize agriculture in Dominica as our way to go. All right, so thank you very much. Till we meet next week Saturday, same time, same place. Whatever is left of your night, Dominicans, whether you're in Dominica or field or further afield, thank you very, very much. And